First contact with the Meridians. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the ESS Hawking, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel, as it dropped out of FTL on the edges of the Carina Nebula. The ship's quantum sensors had detected an unusual energy signature, one that didn't match any known civilization's technology. Multiple structures detected in orbit around the red giant, Commander, Lieutenant Park reported from his station. They appear to be shield generators, massive ones. Sarah leaned forward, studying the holographic display. Dozens of enormous machines encircled the dying star, each projecting energy fields that seemed to be containing the star's increasingly violent solar flares. But the fields were flickering, failing. Life signs, she asked. Billions concentrated on the third planet, but something's wrong with their atmosphere. It's degrading rapidly. Before Sarah could respond, a transmission cut through their communications. The universal translator took a moment to process the alien language, then rendered it in clear English. Unknown vessel, we are the Meridians. Please, we need help. Our star dies, and with it, our civilization. The voice belonged to first speaker Nara, the leader of the Meridian people. As Sarah would soon learn, the Meridians were an ancient race who had achieved technological marvels beyond human comprehension. But all their advancement couldn't save them from their star's inevitable death. Within hours, Sarah and a small team had shuttled down to the Meridian capital city. The alien architecture was breathtaking. Crystalline spires that seemed to defy gravity, connected by bridges of pure energy. But everywhere they looked, signs of decay were evident. The once powerful energy fields protecting the city flickered weakly, and the air itself had a thin, acrid quality. First speaker Nara met them in a vast chamber whose walls displayed real-time images of their failing star. The Meridian leader was tall and graceful, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with their emotions. Currently, it showed deep blues of despair. We have spent centuries trying to preserve our star, Nara explained, their voice carrying both dignity and desperation. Our shield network has bought us time, but now even that fails. We have the knowledge to save our people, but lack the raw materials and industrial capacity to build enough ships. Our mining operations ceased when the radiation levels became too high. Sarah listened intently, her mind already racing with possibilities. Humanity might be younger and less technologically advanced than the Meridians, but they had something the aliens needed: massive industrial capacity and a fierce determination to help others in need. How long? Sarah asked. 3 Earth months before the shield network fails completely. Perhaps 6 before the star goes supernova. Sarah stood, her decision made. First speaker, humanity stands ready to help. We may not have your level of technology, but we have shipyards, resources, and most importantly, the will to save your people. Nayara's skin shifted to a pale green of surprise and hope. But why would you help us? We have nothing to offer in return. Most species we've contacted have already refused. Sarah smiled. Because it's the right thing to do. And because humanity knows what it means to face extinction. We nearly destroyed ourselves once, but we survived by working together. Now it's our turn to help others do the same. The next few hours were a blur of activity as Sarah contacted Earth's United Space Command. To her relief, the response was immediate and decisive. Operation Starlight, they called it, the largest humanitarian mission in human history. As Sarah worked with Nayara to begin planning the evacuation, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity might be newcomers to the galactic stage, but they were about to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The Meridians had built wonders with their technology, but humanity would save them with something far more powerful: their unwavering determination to help others in need. In orbit, the ESS Hawking's sensors continued to monitor the dying star. Its violent pulses were growing stronger, but now they seemed less like a death knell and more like a countdown, not to destruction, but to humanity's greatest achievement yet. The real work was about to begin. The Great Migration Project. The next 3 weeks transformed Earth's orbital shipyards into a hive of unprecedented activity. Dozens of colony ships under construction were rapidly repurposed for evacuation. Manufacturing AIs worked overtime. Production facilities operated at maximum capacity, and thousands of volunteers from every nation on Earth stepped forward to help. Admiral James Santos stood in Unity Station's command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the massive operation unfolding across the Sol system. 20 years in the Space Force hadn't prepared him for a project of this magnitude. Latest numbers from the Meridian system, his aide reported. Their shield network efficiency is down to 62%. At current degradation rates, we have less time than we thought. James grimaced. The Meridian situation was worse than initially estimated. Their dying star was becoming increasingly unstable, its violent outbursts growing more frequent and intense. Each solar flare further damaged the ancient shield network protecting their homeworld. A notification chimed, announcing the arrival of an unexpected visitor. Archminister Keela of the Galactic Concordat, representing the oldest and most powerful spacefaring civilizations, had arrived unannounced. The Archminister was a towering figure, their crystalline body structure reflecting the station's lights in mesmerizing patterns, but their tone carried clear disapproval. Admiral Santos, the Concordat, is concerned about humanity's reckless intervention in the Meridian crisis. With all due respect, Archminister, James replied, keeping his voice level, saving billions of lives is hardly reckless. The Meridian's fate was sealed when their star began its death cycle. It is the natural order of things. More importantly, your species lacks the technological sophistication for such an undertaking. Your failure could destabilize the entire sector. James gestured to the holographic displays. Judge us by our actions, not our age. In 3 weeks, we've mobilized our entire industrial capacity. We're not just building ships. We're creating a future for a civilization that refuses to die. Admirable sentiment. Kella responded coldly, but sentiment won't prevent a supernova. Before James could respond, another alert sounded. Commander Chen's face appeared on the main screen, transmitted from the Meridian system. Admiral, we've successfully tested the first mass teleportation array. Meridian technology combined with our quantum stabilization methods. It works. We can evacuate thousands at a time instead of dozens. James allowed himself a small smile as he turned back to the Archminister. You're right that we lack your level of technology, but we make up for it with innovation and determination. The Meridians have the theoretical knowledge. We have the industrial capacity. And together, we're creating solutions neither of us could achieve alone. Over the next several days, the first wave of human ships arrived in the Meridian system. Each vessel had been modified with Meridian technology, their cargo holds converted into massive living quarters. Engineers from both species worked around the clock, installing the newly developed mass teleportation arrays. But it wasn't just the technical challenges they faced. Cultural integration teams worked tirelessly to prepare both humans and Meridians for the unprecedented mixing of their societies. Earth had opened its doors, offering sanctuary to millions of refugees across multiple continents. The Meridians, despite their advanced age as a species, found themselves deeply moved by humanity's unwavering commitment. First Speaker Nara, working closely with Commander Chen, observed the humans with growing amazement. Your people work until they can barely stand, Nara remarked one day. Even knowing that success is not guaranteed, they push themselves beyond their limits. Sarah Chen wiped sweat from her brow as she adjusted another power coupling. That's kind of our thing. Humans are at their best when someone tells us something's impossible. A sudden tremor shook the installation. Another solar flare had struck the weakening shield network. Warning signals blared as entire sections of the ancient defense grid flickered dangerously. Shield generators 7 through 12 are failing, a technician reported. The radiation surge will reach the surface in minutes. Sarah watched as her engineering teams, without hesitation, rushed to their stations. Some worked to reroute power, others to strengthen the remaining shields. Not one person considered retreating to the safety of their ships. "See," Sarah told Nyara, already moving to help. "Impossible just means we haven't figured it out yet." As the crisis was contained and the shield stabilized, news arrived from Earth. The first refugee reception centers were ready. Humanity had prepared homes, medical facilities, and cultural integration centers for millions of Meridians. Cities around the world had volunteered to host the refugees, seeing not a burden but an opportunity to learn from an ancient civilization. Admiral Santos shared this update with Archminister Keela, who had remained to observe the operation. "Still think we're being reckless." The crystalline being studied the data in silence for a long moment. "Perhaps," they finally admitted, "the Concordat has underestimated humanity's potential. But the greatest challenges are still to come." James nodded, watching as another fleet of evacuation ships entered FTL, bound for the Meridian system. "We know, but we're ready for them." Racing against time. The Meridian sun pulsed an angry red, its surface churning with massive storms of plasma and radiation. Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez watched from the observation deck of the primary evacuation station as another solar flare lashed out against the failing shield network. The massive energy barriers flickered but held, barely. "Shield capacity at 43%, her tablet chirped. The numbers were dropping faster than their most pessimistic projections. They had already evacuated nearly 2 billion Meridians, but another 4 billion remained. At their current rate, they wouldn't make it in time. Dr. Rodriguez, a young engineer, burst onto the deck, his face pale. "We found something in the shield generator's control systems. You need to see this." Maya followed him to the control center, where holographic displays showed lines of alien code scrolling past. Her eyes narrowed as she studied the data. After weeks of working with Meridian technology, she had learned to recognize their programming patterns. This was different. "It's malicious code," she announced, her voice tight with anger. "Someone's been sabotaging the shield network, accelerating its decay." The news spread quickly through the command chain. Within hours, Commander Chen had called an emergency meeting with First Speaker Nara and representatives from Earth's cybersecurity division. The evidence was undeniable. A sophisticated cyber attack had been slowly undermining the shields for weeks. The code signature matches Proxian technology, Earth's top cyber expert explained. The Proxians were an aggressive species that had long viewed the Meridians as rivals. "They're trying to ensure the evacuation fails." First Speaker Naira's skin darkened to a deep purple of rage and despair. "Without the shields, we'll lose everything before the evacuation can be completed. Billions will die." Sarah Chen stood, her expression determined. "Not if we have anything to say about it." "Maya, how long would it take to rebuild the shield control systems from scratch?" 3 weeks, minimum," Maya replied. "We'd have to strip out all the compromised code." "We don't have 3 weeks, Naira said softly. "The star's deterioration has reached a critical point. We have perhaps 10 days before total shield failure." The room fell silent. The task seemed impossible. Repair a massive alien defense network, continue the evacuation, and counter an ongoing cyber attack, all while racing against a dying star. Then Maya spoke up. "What if we don't fix it? What if we bypass it entirely?" All eyes turned to her as she quickly sketched out her idea. Earth's quantum defense networks used a completely different architecture than Meridian technology. They weren't as sophisticated, but they were also immune to the Proxian attack. "We can't replace the Meridian shields entirely," Maya explained, "but we can create a secondary network using our technology. It won't be as efficient, but it will buy us time to complete the evacuation." The next few days became a blur of desperate activity. Earth's factories worked overtime producing quantum shield generators. Every available ship was recruited to help position the new defense grid. Meanwhile, Maya led a team of human and Meridian engineers in writing the integration protocols that would allow the two technologies to work together. The Proxians, realizing their sabotage had been discovered, launched a direct attack on the evacuation fleet, but they had underestimated humanity's military capabilities. Earth's defense forces, led by Admiral Santos, repelled the assault while the engineering teams continued their work. As the new shield network came online, something unexpected happened. The interaction between human and Meridian technology created a resonance effect, strengthening both systems. The hybrid defense grid was more powerful than either technology alone would have been. "It's beautiful," Nayara remarked, watching the new energy fields shimmer around their dying world. "Our ancestors built these shields with the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Yet it took human ingenuity to make them stronger than ever before." Maya smiled, though exhaustion was evident on her face. Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking differently rather than thinking bigger. That's humanity's real strength. We see possibilities where others see only problems. The victory was significant, but they couldn't celebrate yet. The hybrid shields would buy them precious time, but the star's death spiral was accelerating. Even with both evacuation and defense systems working at peak efficiency, it would be close. As Maya coordinated the final adjustments to the shield network, she caught sight of the massive evacuation ships rising through the atmosphere, each carrying thousands of Meridians to safety. There was still so much to do, but seeing those ships gave her hope. A warning alarm blared. Another solar flare approached, larger than any they'd seen before. Maya watched as both human and Meridian technology worked in perfect harmony to protect the planet below. Perhaps this, she thought, was what humanity did best. Not just solving problems, but bringing people together to achieve the impossible. Humanity's ingenuity. Dr. Aisha Patel stood before the combined Earth Meridian Emergency Council, her heart racing, but her voice steady. As Earth's leading expert in terraforming technology, she was about to propose something that would either be considered brilliant or insane. "The evacuation ships can't keep up with the star's deterioration," she began. "Even with the hybrid shields, we're going to lose too many people. But what if we could create safe havens right here in the Meridian system?" She activated a holographic display showing several of the system's outer planets and moons. "We've been using our terraforming technology wrong. Instead of trying to create permanent habitats, we can use it to establish temporary survival zones, places that can shelter millions of Meridians until the evacuation is complete." The council chamber erupted in discussion. Terraforming typically took decades, but Aisha was proposing something entirely different. By combining human terraforming technology with Meridian energy manipulation systems, they could create contained environments in a matter of days. Commander Chen leaned forward. "How many people could each zone shelter?" "With proper optimization, each site could protect up to 50 million Meridians," Aisha replied. "We can establish these zones on the system's outer moons, far enough from the dying star to be safe, but close enough to maintain evacuation operations." First speaker Nayara's skin shifted to a color humans had never seen before, something between hope and disbelief. "You would reshape our worlds to save our people." "We would help you survive," Aisha corrected gently. "That's what humans do." The next 48 hours were a frenzy of activity. Earth's terraforming ships, originally designed for long-term planetary modification, were quickly retooled for rapid environmental manipulation. Meridian scientists, fascinated by the human technology, provided crucial insights that helped accelerate the process. The first test site was established on one of the system's ice moons. Massive energy fields, powered by a combination of human fusion reactors and Meridian quantum collectors, created a controlled environment beneath the surface. Within hours, the first temporary habitat began to take shape. But they faced an unexpected challenge. The rapid environmental changes were causing severe geological instability. The moon's crust began to crack, threatening to destroy the entire habitat before it could be completed. This was where humanity's improvisational nature truly shone. Maya Rodriguez, working with Aisha's team, devised a solution that would have seemed absurd just weeks ago. They modified the hybrid shield technology to contain not just radiation, but to actually stabilize the geological structure of the moon itself. "It's not elegant," Maya admitted as they watched the energy fields weave through the moon's crust, "but it works." The success of the first site led to rapid deployment of others. Each habitat was a testament to the combination of human creativity and meridian precision. What should have been impossible was becoming routine, as one moon after another was transformed into a sanctuary. Admiral Santos, observing from his command ship, received an unexpected transmission from Archminister Keela of the Galactic Concordat. "Your species continues to surprise us," the crystalline being said. "We had dismissed your terraforming technology as primitive, yet you have adapted it in ways we never considered possible." "Sometimes the best solutions come from those who don't know what's supposed to be impossible," James replied. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt and overcome." As the temporary habitats were completed, the evacuation plan shifted. Instead of trying to transport the entire Meridian population directly to Earth, they could now move people in stages. Millions of Meridians were quickly relocated to the sanctuary moons, safe from their stars' increasing instability. The innovation had another unexpected benefit. The Proxians, seeing the success of the human-Meridian collaboration, withdrew their forces from the sector. The sight of moons being transformed into survival habitats in a matter of days had apparently convinced them that this was not the civilization they wanted to antagonize. Aisha stood with First Speaker Nara in the control center of the largest sanctuary, watching as transport ships brought thousands of Meridians to safety every hour. The habitat's artificial sky simulated the gentle light of their homeworld, creating an illusion of normalcy in this underground sanctuary. "Your people achieve the impossible with such regularity that you make it seem normal," Nara observed. Aisha smiled. "The impossible is just the possible that hasn't been tried yet. We learned that lesson early in our history, and we've never forgotten it." A new beginning. 3 months later, Commander Sarah Chen stood on a balcony in New Alexandria, Earth's first hybrid human meridian city. Below her, the streets were filled with both species, working together to build something unprecedented, a civilization that combined the best of both worlds. The evacuation had been completed just days before their star's final death throes. The massive supernova had lit up the galaxy, visible even from Earth's surface. But thanks to humanity's determination and ingenuity, not a single Meridian life had been lost. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Admiral Santos joined her at the railing. "The Galactic Concordat's representatives are arriving today. Apparently, they have a proposal for us." Sarah nodded. The success of Operation Starlight had fundamentally altered humanity's standing in the galaxy. The sight of humans transforming moons into survival habitats in days, creating hybrid shield technology, and coordinating the largest evacuation in known history had changed how other species viewed Earth. The meeting took place in the newly constructed Unity Chamber, its architecture a stunning blend of human and Meridian design. First Speaker Naira and Earth's leaders sat alongside Sarah and her team as Archminister Keela addressed the assembly. "In the history of our Concordat," the crystalline being began, "no young species has ever accomplished what humanity has achieved. You not only saved an ancient civilization from extinction, but demonstrated levels of innovation, adaptation, and determination that we had thought impossible." Keela's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns of light that indicated deep respect. "The Concordat hereby extends an unprecedented offer: joint membership for both humanity and the Meridians, as a single unified civilization." The chamber erupted in murmurs of surprise. Such an offer was unheard of. Younger species typically waited centuries before being considered for Concordat membership, and joint membership had never been offered before. First Speaker Naira's skin shimmered with emotions as she stood. "When our star began to die, we thought we faced the end of everything we had built over millennia. Instead, we found not just saviors, but partners. The humans didn't simply rescue us. They showed us new ways of thinking, new possibilities we had never imagined. Maya Rodriguez, sitting beside Sarah, smiled as she watched Meridian children playing with human children in the chamber's adjacent garden. They were using a mix of human and Meridian technology to create beautiful light sculptures, their laughter transcending any species barrier. The integration hadn't always been smooth. Cultural differences had led to misunderstandings, and some on both sides had resisted change. But the shared triumph of the evacuation had created bonds that ran deeper than any differences. Dr. Aisha Patel's terraforming techniques, combined with Meridian environmental control technology, were already being used to rehabilitate damaged ecosystems on Earth. Meridian scientists, freed from the constraints of their conservative traditions, were eagerly exploring new applications of human innovation. "The stars are no longer a barrier," Sarah said quietly. "They're a bridge." As the formal ceremonies concluded, Sarah found herself back on the balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that seemed to match the shifting hues of Meridian skin. A small group of human and Meridian engineers were installing a new type of atmospheric processor nearby, their easy cooperation a testament to how far they'd come. Admiral Santos joined her again, looking thoughtful. "You know, when we first picked up that distress signal, some said we were foolish to attempt a rescue. That we were too young, too inexperienced, too primitive to help an ancient species." Sarah smiled. "They didn't understand what makes humans special. We don't accept limitations. We see problems as challenges, impossible odds as inspiration. And now look at us." James gestured to the city below. "We didn't just save a civilization. We helped create a new one, something greater than either of us could have built alone." As night fell, the city began to glow with a combination of human and Meridian lighting technology, creating a spectacle that drew tourists from across the galaxy. But beyond the beautiful display, it represented something more profound. Proof that the impossible was only impossible until someone decided to try. The stars above seemed brighter somehow, no longer distant points of light, but gateways to new adventures, new challenges, new opportunities to show what humanity could achieve. The Meridian crisis had changed everything, not just for Earth or the Meridians, but for the entire galaxy. As Sarah watched a group of young human and Meridian scientists heading to their joint research facility, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself not just through technology or strength, but through its unwavering spirit, its determination to help others, and its ability to turn adversity into opportunity. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would they.